Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, I want to talk about 5 different skills that will be helping you in becoming a better Flutter developer. So stay tuned in the entire video and you will be getting some great insights over how you can become a great Flutter developer and start utilizing that knowledge for building better applications. So without any further ado, let's get started. And before getting started, make sure you have hit that like button on this video and also you are sharing this video among your developer friends. Alright, so let's get started with the first point, which is about learning Dart. D-A-R-T, Dart. Now Dart is the best meant for building a good Flutter application. Whatever code that you will be writing in your application will be run through Dart. So make sure you know Dart at a good level. Now I'm not talking that you should be learning Dart just as a prerequisite. Dart is single-handedly one of the good language that you can learn and you can utilize it in your any of other work. For example, in coding interviews or even in building a great portfolio. So make sure you learn Dart till more than beginner level. You can extend Dart till intermediate level. Now here you can see one of my Instagram posts that you can go through and you can learn more about what are advanced Dart concepts. Now I highly recommend you following me over my Instagram where I keep posting new content every day. Yes, every single day. So make sure you go through this post and check out all the advanced concepts that you should be learning in Dart to become a good Flutter developer. Now after that, the second point that I want to mention in order to become a great Flutter developer is about learning how to test your applications. Now in testing, there are majorly 3 types of testing in Flutter, which is unit testing, integration testing and yes, you guessed it right, widget testing. Now make sure you know all 3 types of testing so that whatever application you will be building won't have any error, any bugs or any lag or issues. Right, so make sure you know what is testing and how you can leverage testing in creating a good application. Now in the case of testing, you can leverage some other tools, that is other websites that will be providing you the option of testing your applications through them, or you can do some manual testing. Now if you want a video over how to perform testing, just comment down below and I'll be creating that video. Now after learning about what is Dart and what is testing, the third point that you should be learning, that is not learning but excelling, the following point is about state management. Now most of the developers ignore the topic of state management because they are satisfied with a single state management, and most of them, that is most of the people, prefer using set state or provider as their primary state management. Now I'm not saying that you should not use set state or you should stick only to provider, but what I am saying is you should keep experimenting new test management suites. Right, so there are various good state managements like block, riverpod, provider and even redux. Now don't go with getx. I highly decline the usage of getx in Flutter applications because the following state management is simply a wrapper over all the Flutter framework itself. Right, so make sure you don't use getx. If you want to use getx, you can use for navigation or some small utilities, but don't use getx for a larger term. Right, so other than that, make sure you know what is state management and how to leverage state management to create performance-based applications. That is, you should not get any lags or any glitches in any of the feature of your application. Right, so make sure you know at least 1 to 2 different type of state managements, and knowing provider and block is must thing for every Flutter developer. Yes, I am saying it again, you should be knowing what is provider and what is block. Now whatever videos I make on this channel are all with the respect of getting job, getting freelance things and building projects on commercial terms, not on some fancy personal projects. Right, so whatever I have built so far, everything I'll be telling to you in that way only. Right, so make sure you know at least provider or block, or both of them is just a cherry on the top. Now the fourth point that makes you a good Flutter developer is writing good documentation. Now writing documentation is one of the underrated thing that every Flutter developer ignore, and you should not do that. You should be different than all of them. Right, so make sure you know how to write great Dart documentation. Now the Dart website itself has all the conventions and all the patterns that you should be following in order to create a good documentation, but still you can start writing it manually. No matter where you start, you just have to start it. right? So even if you are writing documentation at a beginner level or at a noob level, that works. You don't have to worry about that, but you have to keep writing documentation every single day. Now the ways to write documentation is to simply write the comments on every single function that you are doing, and also creating a good readme file on your GitHub profile or in a Bitbucket or any type of platform where you are simply deploying your code, right? So whenever you create your application and whenever you ship your code, create a good readme file, that is readme file, and also write documentation, commentation, and all of the stuff over to testing sections, the development sections, the assets, etc. and etc. Right. Now the final point that I want to mention is about building more and creating less. What I mean by that is most of the developers get stuck between building, that is creating UIs for their Flutter applications. Now I highly recommend you to stop doing that and focus on building the features. It doesn't matter how your UI looks at the initial stage, you have to just focus over the UX. That is, you have to just focus over the functionality of your applications, and later once everything is done, you can simply start creating better UI which is wrapped over the workable feature. Right now, I hope you get this point, because whenever I get code reviews or whenever people say me, Abhishek, can you just check our code, all of them have some very fantastic UI, but the functionality is kind of average, and I don't want you to get stuck between that loop. I want you to focus more on building the feature, building the functionality, and later at the later point of the project lifetime, you need to focus over what is the UI, what is the color, what is the background palette, etc. and etc. Right. So these were some of the points that you can leverage in order to build a strong mindset and also in order to become a great Flutter developer. Now all the points that I mentioned so far were simply conclusive, and the first thing first, you have to learn about what is Dart. Second thing, you have to learn about what is testing. Third thing, you have to go through state management. You have to pick one solid state management and follow the state management in most of your projects. So you'll be getting habitual of that. The fourth point will be writing a great documentation. And the final point will be focusing more on the functionality and less on the UI or UX. Now I hope this video will be helping you at least 1% in becoming a good Flutter developer. And if that works, that's a blessing for me as well. Alright, that's it for this video. Please follow me over to all of my social handles that are just floating up, and I'll see you in the next one.